So you might have heard this week that Liliane Bettencourt died. The richest woman in the world, an heir to the L'Oreal cosmetics empire. It brought to me the L'Oreal slogan, which must be one of the most famous straplines in the whole history of advertising. You know it. Because you're worth it. Because you're worth it. Which, for me as a philosopher, raises lots of deep philosophical questions. What makes someone worth it? Are you actually worth it? And the most interesting question of all, what on earth is it? We can talk about that after. This strange parable today is all about what we are worth in God's eyes. Or to use the more religious language, whether we are worthy. In English it's the same. Are you worth it? Are you worthy? It's exactly the same. Today the workers turn up at the last hour. They do just a few minutes' work. They're given a great reward, as if they've worked through the heat of the day. They're amazed, they're a bit puzzled, they're delighted. Wouldn't you be? And in fact, this is us. We have been given so many gifts, completely undeserved. Life itself, our talents and gifts and opportunities. Above all, the gift of faith. We are the late workers who are not worthy of what we have received. And remember the prayer as you come up to Holy Communion, that we say at every Mass, Lord, I am not worthy. It's because of God's goodness that we are who we are. And His gift makes us worthy. It gives us a worth we didn't have. And it reveals a worth that we didn't know was there. It's good to remember all this at the beginning of term. I know that you're excited, many of you. But I also know there's a lot of worries and pressures on you. So just to remember here on Sunday morning that you are loved by God, that your life has a purpose, and that He is with you and guiding you through everything that happens this academic year. For you to be grateful for that, to reflect not just on the gifts, but on the giver and on the goodness of God. Back to the parable. Okay, you're the late arrival, but maybe you're also the early starter. The worker who's been there from the dawn, through the heat of the day, you've worked hard, you're living your faith, you think you're quite a good person, and you don't feel that God has given you back enough. Have you ever felt that? Honestly. Let's put it in the language of the gospel. You are jealous sometimes of what other people have, and you want what they have got. Okay, let's just put it out there. We're all sinners, we're all messed up, we're all struggling with this stuff. But the demon of jealousy, especially in the student world. People constantly comparing and judging what grades you've got, what ranking your university is in the tables, what ranking your department is in the university, how many likes your post has on Facebook or Instagram, how beautiful your neighbour is, how rich your flatmate is, how many friends your friends have. This is a great one. How many parties are taking place within earshot of your bedroom? And you can hear 6 of them, and not one single one have you been invited to. The demon of jealousy. Well, how does God respond to your jealousy? Is He nice and compassionate and understanding? Not at all. Right, this is the Lord in the form of the landowner. He says to the servants, "My friend, I am not being unjust to you. I choose to pay the last comer as much as I pay you. Have I not the right to do what I like with my own? Why be envious because I am generous?" This is pretty tough stuff, isn't it? You want some compassion, you're feeling lonely, and God says, get a grip. Let me put it more gently. God is generous to others. Yeah, get a grip. Grow up. He's also generous to you. And the tragedy, psychologically, theologically, is if we obsess about his generosity to others in a way that stops us seeing his generosity to us. That's the sadness. Well, let's just throw this in brackets, okay? If this is your demon this week. 5 tips against jealousy. What do you do? First tip, laughter. Laugh at yourself. You're an idiot. Jealousy is a waste of time. Second tip, prayer. Just really pray. Say to God, look, I'm eaten up with jealousy. This is my problem today. It's like the alcoholic saying, yes, this is a problem for me. Yeah, and just offer it to God. Ask for his help. Instead of pretending, just hand it over to him. And he will help you. Always. Third tip, gratitude. Instead of thinking about what you don't have, thank God for what you actually do have, however small. Count your blessings, as the phrase goes. And this is lovely because it means the dark temptation of jealousy gets turned into a beautiful thing. Gratitude, joy, blessing. Fourth, clever one this, I didn't invent it, intercession. If you're jealous of person X, pray for them. Because you only see the shiny side of them. And they, I promise you, have their own weaknesses and wounds, which are maybe better hidden than yours. They need your prayers. And if you're jealous of them, maybe it's a sign that that's your little vocation for today. And the last tip about jealousy, look, is just change the subject. Change channels, or whatever you say today, you young people with streaming services. Yeah, change the playlist. If you're jealous, just change the thoughts and stop thinking about this stuff. It's just an illusion. It doesn't make you happy. It's an illusion that they are happy because they have what you don't have. And it's just messy and complicated and distracting, and let's just get on and live a little. Change the subject. So you can remember them if you like. Back to the parable. Now this is, I hadn't thought of this before this week. Maybe you are neither the late arriver nor the early starter. Maybe you're meant to be the landowner in this parable. Now you might say, but the landowner surely represents God, and I'm not God. Well, you're not. But in many of the parables we are called to be like God. The landowner, notice, is the most important person in this parable. He is just to all. He's completely honest, transparent. He keeps his promises to the people who came early. And he has a special heart for those who are late, last, behind, the ones that others have forgotten about, the ones that no one else wants to hire. He is defined by both his justice and his mercy and compassion, and that there is no contradiction between the two. Do you see why we need to be like the landowner? It's true for us. So first of all, let's just be not unjust. Keep our promises. And then to go the extra mile. Now, be careful here. You go into McDonald's. You order a Big Mac meal. Extra large, please. It's what, £5.49? And out of the super abundant goodness of your heart, you say to the person behind the till, no, I'm going to pay $15.95 for this Big Mac meal. And they look at you confused, and the whole shop is looking at you confused, and actually this is a little refrain, you're being an idiot. This is not what it means to go the extra mile and to have a compassionate heart. You pay for the Big Mac meal the price that's on the board. But in other circumstances, yes, have a heart that's bigger than what people expect. Have a heart for the lost, the late, the last. You're called to see things that others don't see. You need X-ray eyes to see beyond the dazzle and the show, to see the soul of the person that you are passing, to see the new name that God has promised them in the book of Revelation. You see the potential in others. You see the needs in others that other people have ignored. You hear the cry of their heart, however muffled or hidden. The Lord delights in them. Can you see what He is delighting in them? Maybe not. Maybe they can't even see it themselves. But the challenge is for you to believe that God does delight in them and that there is something worthy in them of delight. If we can see that, we will be more like the landowner. I said this last week and I don't mind saying it again. Your year of study will be defined, ultimately, not by your academic results or your LinkedIn connections or the market value of your startup, but by how open and loving you have been to the stranger this year. If we want to be like God, we need to have a heart that is open to all without discrimination. And more than that, to use a theological phrase, we need to have a preferential option for the poor. Just as the landowner in the parable gave extra money proportionally to the late arrivals, we should give extra love and attention to help those most in need. I'm going to end, as I often like to, with a practical plan, right? I'm going to teach you a sacred word. Are you ready? It's this. Drum roll. The sacred word is hello. Shall I say that again? Hello. Right? It's biblical, isn't it? The angel Gabriel coming to Mary. Hail Mary. It's the first word of the Annunciation. Hello. And we would not have our Saviour without that word. This is Hello Challenge Week. Right? You are going to say, I trust and I hope, hello to God in the morning. That's called morning prayer. Hello, not goodbye, but hello to God in the evening. This is called evening prayer. It doesn't matter if it's 2 hours or 2 minutes. All that matters is that you get the hello word in. Hello to friends and colleagues and family. Call them. But especially hello to strangers. This is my point. The people in your hall, on your corridor, on the same course, who even now, it's amazing how quickly it happens, even now after 3 days you've filtered them out and you've thought, oh yeah, they're not my type, they're in another group of friends, we're not going to talk for the next year. Even them, to say hello to them. The hello challenge. And I've developed, you'd like to know, you startup people, I've developed an app for this. You can download it from hellochallenge.com. It's like, you know, those step apps that count your steps in the day. It counts your hellos, but you can't cheat. It's clever. It uses AI programming. It knows if you're saying hello to yourself. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. And it knows if you're saying hello to the same person in that day. It knows these things. So the benchmark is 25 hellos per day. 50 is good, 100 is excellent, and there will be a prize for the person with the most hellos next week. Right? I am at, and I'm not lying, people can vouch for me, I am at 2,950 on Thursday alone, because with Samantha and Michelle and Ivan I was at LSE Freshers' Fair, and I said with them to every single fresher at LSE, hello, and why not come to Mass on Wednesday? So 2,950. That's, I won't say the benchmark, the starting point. Okay. So, finally, are you worth it? The answer is yes and no in God's amazing eyes. He sees your worthiness, and you are blessed for that. But he also gives you blessings beyond anything that you deserve. And even more amazingly, he lets you share in his work of making others worthy too. And that's our task this week.